The president's response was to attack Pat Toomey on Twitter. Is it finally time for this to end?
Yes. And here's the reason why. The president has had an opportunity to access the courts. And I said to you, George, starting at 2:30 a.m. on Wednesday morning, if you've got the evidence of fraud, present it. And what's happened here is, quite frankly, the conduct of the president's legal team has been a national embarrassment. Sidney Powell accusing Governor Brian Kemp of a crime on television, yet being unwilling to go on TV and defend and lay out the evidence that she supposedly has. This is outrageous conduct by any lawyer. And notice, George, they won't do it inside the courtroom. They allege fraud outside the courtroom, but when they go inside the courtroom, they don't plead fraud and they don't argue fraud. This is what I was concerned about at 2:30 in the morning on Wednesday night. Listen, I've been a supporter of the president's. I voted for him twice. But elections have consequences. And we cannot continue to act as if something happened here that didn't happen. You have an obligation to present the evidence. The evidence has not been presented. And you must conclude, as Tucker Carlson even concluded the other night, that if you're unwilling to come forward and present the evidence, it must mean the evidence doesn't exist. That's what I was concerned about starting on election night, and I remain concerned today. I think it's wrong. I think what you've heard lots of Republicans starting to say this. I said it on election night, and I hope more say it going forward, because the country is what has to matter the most. As much as I'm a strong Republican and I love my party, it's the country that has to come first.
Rahm Emanuel, we still haven't heard from Mitch McConnell.
No, and I'm not sure you're going to hear from. Look.
So what you just heard there was Christie, someone very close to Donald Trump, calling his legal team a national embarrassment. That was on ABC with George Stephanopoulos this morning. And he's 100% right to do so, because the conduct of Jenna Ellis and Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani has been despicable. Because in public, they're inflaming the Trump base with wild, baseless claims, conspiratorial claims, awful claims, not just about Democrats, but about their own Republicans. As he notes here, and as I noted in a video earlier this morning, basically Sidney Powell is accusing Republicans like Governor Kemp in Georgia of being in the pocket of Biden and the deep state and taking money from Dominion voting systems to take the election from Trump, which is absurd. There's no evidence to the claim. There's none. There's not even, little bits of morsels that could one day become evidence. There is nothing in this case. And as Christie notes here, really, you're looking at a situation where in public they say all these things, but as we've been noting on this channel, and as any legal expert will tell you, when you get to court, you can't talk like that anymore. And that's why they're losing. And you go to the courtrooms, and if you read what they're saying, in most of the cases, they're not actually alleging anything close to what they're alleging in public, because to do so would be perjury, and to do so would get you in trouble and get the individual lawyers in those courtrooms in trouble with their professional certification. They could lose their careers saying what these people have been saying on Newsmax, on OAN, on Fox, on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever. Honestly, it's that bad, really, because what they're effectively saying is, as Tucker Carlson noted, and you guys know I'm loath to give him credit, that this is the most significant crime in American history. And apparently there's no evidence to it, because if they had evidence, they would be providing it in court or to the public. And neither the court nor the public has been getting this. And again, we have to be clear. Christie might not be like a far-right Republican, but he is close to Trump. This is a man that was close to Donald Trump and was an ally and supporter of Donald Trump. In the weeks running up to the election, when Trump was doing debate prep, obviously he probably could have done better at debate prep, but when he was doing it, he was working with Christie. Christie was on his core team of people helping him get ready for those crucial debates. So if there's a sense here that Christie is a Republican in name only that's attacking Trump's legal team, that's BS. I think this is a man that likes and respects Donald Trump and understands Donald Trump, but still feels that what's happening here is deeply irresponsible. This is a moment, a gut check moment for Republicans. if you're staying silent right now, especially if you're engaging in it, but even if you're staying silent right now, you are enabling the poisoning of democracy. That's what's happening here. Because again, it's not about the legal cases. This is all a grift for Powell and for Giuliani. They're getting like $20,000, $30,000 a day to do what they're doing. And they're going to get paid either way. And the Trump Legal Defense Fund, we've talked about it. If you donate to that, that money is actually not going to a legal defense. That money is going to Trump's campaign debt. All of this is a legendary grift in the legal sense. Nothing's going to happen there. But the point is that, one, they're trying, and that means that they're trying to overturn the will of the people. And two, that you're not going to turn this off come Inauguration Day. That some Republican officials that played along or that stayed quiet are going to shift on a dime and recognize Biden as soon as he formally becomes president. But by then it'll be too late. By then, half of the Republican Party, if not more, will have believed this election was taken from them unduly, unjustly, through conspiracy or what have you. And that will never go away. So if there are responsible Republicans, and there are vanishingly few of them, they need to do what Christie just did and call it for what it is. Trump and his legal team are acting like petulant children, and it's a national and indeed international embarrassment.